Hey there, Patriots. Welcome back to the front lines. This is Death Watch. Today, we're going to be talking about High Guardian Spice. Now, this show, even though it's called High Guardian Spice, this shit is kind of bland. Okay, you got rosemary, you got sage, you got some parsley, you got some thyme. This crap's still bland. Okay, who's in the kitchen? Who's cooking up this crap? Okay, because it is disgusting. Okay, so I survived the first four episodes. It was terrible. It's slow because usually when it comes to anime, you have the rule of three. First three episodes, you kind of want to hook in your potential viewership. By the fourth episode, viewership completely sinks because between episode 3 and episode 4, usually your viewers decide right then and there, I'm going to continue this series or I'm going to drop it. But since this is a 12 episode series that was aired all at once, they most likely sat there and said, hey, we can take our time when it comes to pacing, when it comes to character arcs and all this other crap. We still got another like a season 2 to explore this series, explore the characters, explore the environment, things like that. We're just going to take our time and just do whatever, okay? Because I can't really tell you what is the whole purpose of these characters. What's the purpose of them trying to become guardians? What is why is the need for guardians even exist in this world? That's my huge problem, okay? So what I'm going to compare this series to is, this is Crunchyroll's first ever original anime series. It's not anime, it's anime. Okay, so I'm gonna compare this series to Rooster Teeth, RWBY, Rooster Teeth's first ever original anime series. Okay, when it came to RWBY, we already knew that hey, there's these creatures called Grimm, and they're taking up a lot of land. They're killing people. They're eating people. Humanity is kind of is on the brink of almost extinction and things like that. So you learn that within the first three episodes as Ruby and crew comes to that academy. I can't believe I forgot the name of the academy, but they all come to the academy. Right then there, the teachers teach them, hey, this is how aura works, which you later figure out that there's no real continuity to what aura is, nor to like the kind of secret powers that everybody gets because their aura is different, things like that. And then dust, you learn about that. You learn about who are the baddies, the White Fang, the terrorist organizations, things like that. And it pretty much gives you enough to keep you kind of hooked. The fighting is good, the animation is good, it's interesting, it's new, and it kind of got you. It really got you hooked within the first episode. This show, however, within the first episode, I was like, "Oh God, it's finally over," because there wasn't much. There wasn't much to it. Okay, and that's the big problem with this. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of the characters. So we got Rosemary here, the purple hair. The sorry, I said purple, pink. I'm colorblind. The pink hair girl right here, who is more headstrong, kind of the fierce fighter who has her mother's sword, and wants to use things with her sword. Goes around, wants to swing everything around. She's kind of like the fighter. If we're looking at comparing this to Dungeons and Dragons, okay, the fighter, human female. Okay, then we got the human female sorcerer. Okay, Sage. She's more bookwormish, more reserved, kind of likes takes a few seconds to think about a situation. The polar opposite of Rosemary. They're BFFs. Okay, they grew up in the exact same small town, and here they are together going to High Guardian Academy because Rosemary's mother was a famous guardian. She wants to follow her mother's footsteps. In Sage here, her mother went to the same academy, but of course didn't become a very prominent guardian. Okay, Rosemary's mother is missing in action right now. Hopefully she's not dead. We'll probably by the I'll say second season we'll probably figure that out. But most likely they probably talked about it in the later episodes of this season. I just gotta sit down and finish watching this god awful show. Okay, so then we have Parsley, the short stack dwarven chick right here. Her character, her voice acting, like the person who does her voice acting, kind of just sounds weird and out of place for her character. Um, I don't know if that's the type of mic they're using for her character, but her voice just kind of, I don't know. I'm not hitting. I know I'm not talking about people's voices, things like that. It just doesn't fit. Everybody else's voices kind of fit. Her voice doesn't fit the actual character, and but for most part, there's nothing really bad about Parsley. She's more, in my opinion, she's more tolerable than all the other characters. Okay, because she's a dwarf who comes from a blacksmithing family. She is the eldest child and only daughter of like 8 or 9 siblings. Okay, it was revealed in the 4th episode that she had a brand new baby sister. Okay, and so she gets in a fight with her parents because her parents want her to stay in the house and help out with raising all the other siblings, to help her mother out raise all the siblings. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to be a famous blacksmith guardian, things like that. So she's pretty much the kind of like dwarven blacksmith slash tank of the group. Okay. Then we have Dime back here, who is just moody and insufferable. Okay, she when she's first introduced, Rosemary almost takes her head off, and of course, somebody will be upset when you're swinging around a big sword, almost took somebody's head off. Okay, but other than that, every time they run into her, and then they're roommates with her, it's kind of the same thing with Ruby, where you have Blake, Dime is kind of like Blake, Rosemary is like Ruby, and Sage here is kind of, I would say, who is Sage like? Weiss. But instead, Weiss is BFFs with Ruby, and then Dime being Blake, and she just hates everybody and moody all the time. They'll probably elaborate more on why she's all moody, but it's just like she's kind of a turnoff from the get go. It's like, Jesus Christ. But before you guys go out and venture into your own suffering fest of watching High Guardian Spice, make sure you take this with you, because it's dangerous out there. You got so much pronouns, so many SJW bullcrap, being flown your way. You got to make sure you have your trusty bingo card with you. Okay, so we're gonna sit here and we're gonna I'm gonna give you the quick and dirty rundown. Okay, so here we have your freebie diversity. So here we have gay. Okay, the first people that you run into outside of the immediate family of Sage and Rosemary here are, I believe, Sage's aunt or sister. Yeah, Sage's older sister, who is I believe, married to a elf chick. And so when you have gay, yep, you got it, the big gay right here. Okay, then women are strong too. Pretty much the entire series is all about women. You have men, I'm gonna put that in quotation marks, but we're going to get into that. But mainly women are strong too. So go on and put yourself a little check mark right there. So one genuinely good moment. Trying to remember here. I believe there was one. I think within the first episode there was a genuinely good moment. And it wasn't involving the characters. It was pretty much two like animals dancing around, flying around, doing something. So I'll give myself a little check right there. And then quirky girl who's misunderstood. Okay. I guess there is a character. There's two bully characters. Okay. And I don't know. I'll say Rosemary's pretty much quirky girl who's misunderstood because she just wants to become a powerful guardian like her mother. So I'll give myself, give yourself a little check mark there. And we already got our bingo. Okay. So let's go on to see. As for pronoun. Okay. Well, actually, you have a teacher who discusses their pronouns, and you'll figure out that when I go back here and say, there's male characters, and I put that in quotation marks, you'll figure that out within the second episode, I believe. MC's a dunce. Yep. Yep. Big dunce right here with Rosemary. Dwarf and elf fall in love and forbidden love. It hasn't been established yet, but right now they're just friends. These two right here, Parsley and Dime, they're just friends. Serious smart girl contrasts MC. Pretty much when it comes to, yeah, Sage right here contrasts the Rosemary, the main MC right here. She's kind of, short, she's mindful, smart, bookwormish. So yeah, complete contrast. Dime right here is more serious when it comes to certain things. So yeah, I guess pretty much all of these people are in stark contrast to our main character here. First episodes only imply gay. Well, not only, but the first main characters that you see, the continuing characters that you see, are in fact a gay couple. I like to eat. That's Rosemary all around. Pronoun correction. Yep, there was a pronoun correction because again, you had a trans character, a trans teacher who then had to say, "Hey, well, actually, I am a whatever," and then goes downhill after episode 4. After 4 episodes, it went downhill after pretty much 3 episodes. Okay, Um, accept yourself. Apparently, in the future episodes, I got a screen cap of it right here. Somebody luckily posted this, but we're gonna get into these characters. But this is a character who's having contemplations about being trans, and then you have the actual trans teacher here who's a trans man who just takes potions. Okay, it's a woman who takes potions in order to transition themselves. They got to take the potion once a month in order to transition themselves. So yeah, and right here in this scene right here, they're pretty much having that talk about you need to accept yourself, and that, hey, you know if you want to be trans, you can be trans. So pretty much we got all of this right here, except for dwarf and elf fallen forbidden love, girl with at least 2 hair colors, the aunt, Sage's sister. I keep saying aunt, but Sage's sister is original design had her with a blue highlight in her hair. I think they took that out. Mainly all the characters usually have like one basic color, but who knows if that will change. Again, the original design had like one light blue. Her hair is purple, but they had like one light blue streak in it, things like that. So let's go over to the eye board. Okay, bully character actually soft. Yep, this character right here. I forgot who, Snapdragon, I believe this person's name is a bully, but apparently, this person is having a moment of softness, weakness, because they're contemplating whether or not they feel like they're actually a boy or a girl. Okay, starts off somewhat fun show. I mean, at first it was kind of fun, but then it kind of just started getting really boring after a while. So MC dad, incredibly progressive. We haven't really seen her dad much, but apparently, the whole when you actually watch the show, it's kind of like the mother is this strong, powerful, famous guardian. Kind of looks overtly masculine, while the father in the her older brother, Rosemary's older brother, is very feminized. Okay, the older brother is kind of like shrimpy, not like, how can I say this without being offensive? He's fairly tall, but he's he's a string bean who has that type of sassy tone type, like a twink, kind of twinkish type character. Okay, sassy, kind of like older bullyish type older brother archetype, and it's kind of weird. Okay, so straight character gets over bias. Haven't seen that yet. Don't be racist, please. Haven't seen that yet. Non-binary. I mean, you could probably, how things work nowadays. You can probably say this character so far, because they're questioning their sexuality, is probably non-binary. But you'll probably have a character who openly comes out as non-binary. Okay, pronoun correction leads to no anger from correctee. Yep, still had that, again, pronoun correction, things like that. That of MC and antagonist have history. We have not seen that yet. Tough character shy. Who was it? I think one of the teachers falls into this kind of category. And then Main villain is a misunderstood. So apparently I watched a review of like episode 12 or something like that, where one of the main villains actually get featured, and apparently they have that type of attitude towards them towards the end of the fight scene. I think it's episode 12 or episode like 7 or 8 or whatever. Okay, I'll update this bingo board accordingly when we finish. But within the first 4 episodes, you already got a bingo here, you already got a bingo here, and you got a bingo kind of right here. Okay, well, not right there because main villain. I'll say this. Boop boop boop. Generally one good moment. Pronoun. Yep. Pretty much right here. And tough characters starts off so fun. Yeah, I'll say you got at least 2 bingos. Like one right here, with the N, the G, and then I'll say right here. You get a good, you get a good 3 bingo right there. Okay, so far within the first 4 episodes. Okay, so we're gonna talk about what other people are saying in response to all the hatred. I hate it because I can't. Oh my god, let me scroll into it. Okay, so this person right here says, you only hate High Guardian Spice because you are uncomfortable seeing LGBTQ plus in BIPOC. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Characters in your anime. It's not an anime. There's tons. Okay, I will do a series. I would do a episode where I run down all my favorite Yuri or shows that actually feature trans people or actually features trans issues, because there is an actual good manga series that focuses on femininity. It has a lesbian character, 2 lesbian characters. One of the characters is going through a identity crisis with her sexuality, and a male character who is actually trans or going through like trans identity crisis too. Is mainly focused about different types of kind of exploring the idea of what is feminine and femininity in itself, things like that. It's very good for what it is. I actually read it from beginning to start, and it was pretty good. Okay, it didn't really, wasn't all shoehorned in my face like SJWs like to do it. It was actually a pretty good, solid series that focused on the characters, focused on the different reasons why these characters are going through these type of struggles, and it's very, very sympathetic. Okay, it actually definitely explores these characters, but doesn't like what these SJWs like to do. They like to uphold these characters as being holy, sacred cows. Okay, these characters are deeply flawed. One of the characters that is going through this identity crisis is a very flawed person, because they went through a very troubled history, and because of that they became a very bad person, even though they seem to be a very loving and caring person on the outside. Okay, and it's really a really good series, and I'll probably do a full video about that. Okay, additionally, complaints of the voice acting being bad fall flat when you consider the fact that a lot of animes have bad voice acting, but Western audience don't notice them since they don't speak Japanese. You guys have no legitimate complaints about the show's quality, so you latch onto most minute details. Sure, buddy. Long leftist meme calling people who disagree with them racist, Nazis, Trump supporters, etc. Non-binary pronouns in bio. Also, High Guardian Spice isn't an anime. It didn't originate in Japan. It's not based on manga, light novel, and no Japanese were involved with it. Okay, here's another one. For all the trolls brigading this post, this is what you look like. Right-wing memes. And this is stupid, dude. When people say the left don't know how to meme, this is examples of it. Okay, who's this person? Han. Don't contact this person. Do not do anything to this person. Okay, just laugh at them and make fun of them. Okay, so but let's get into the reviews, because this person is saying that, well, all the people who are hate bombing this are of course all alt-right neo-Nazis and things like that. But here, the average rating for the show is a 1.5 out of 5. Okay, here we got actually painful to watch. Not that I am surprised, but the animation quality is poor, feeling rushed with bad lip sync. obnoxious camera cuts that are jarring and make following anything happening that is impossible. Lots of pointless scenes and reused frames, but that's not all. The writing is bland with vanilla, uninteresting characters who have what I call an attempt at a backstory, which only lasts about 5 seconds and is boom boom and is brushed aside, making any chance at an interesting character arc gone. The show seems more concerned with self-interest and not offending anyone to do anything remotely creative or interesting. Yeah, that's pretty much the whole entire series. They, like I said, within the first 4 episodes, they don't really explore. Like, when it came to RWBY, you already had a good idea of what the characters, let me just say this. Let's take a step back here, okay? You either have it story driven, meaning that, okay, the characters are here at this academy, okay? You either sit here and allow the characters to kind of explore the academy, and as they're exploring the academy, you figure out more about the academy and the teachers, okay? The teachers are there to kind of explain why there is a need for guardians. What is the main job for guardians? They have this one scene in episode 2 where they have the characters go out and take classes, and then at the end of the day, before dinner time, they come back to like this kind of like well, this like wishing well that they summon in the middle of the hall, and have these characters kind of sit there and say their vows, what they believe a guardian is and what a guardian is supposed to, right? And of course, they all go there and they, after the day is over, which they don't really sit down and try to talk about, they had one scene where Rosemary goes to class and she's taking an ethics class, and it was more funny and quirky instead of like the teacher actually trying to explain, what is the ethics of this world, right? The kind of like the, any type of allusion to world building, you usually get that from the teacher characters. It was the same with RWBY. It's the same for Harry Potter. You learn about the world. You'll learn about the world of wizardry. You'll learn about the world of being a hunter from the teachers lecturing the students, the brand new students who come in, about what they are doing, what is the purpose of, of them being here, and what are they trying to aspire to be, right? You don't have any of that. It was more like quirky, funny, slapstick humor, and then that was it. And then you switched over to another character who was in the class. You pretty much let's see, Parsley here was put in a smithing class, and then it was just like, okay guys, we're going to create daggers, and then Parsley just quickly, smacks together a bunch of daggers, and then the teacher's like, oh crap, well dang, and then that was it. Like, okay, well, hey, class dismissed, okay, and that was it. Like, hey, create some daggers. He doesn't go over like a lecture of, a sword, as blacksmiths, you guys are in charge of the guardian's weapons. A guardian's weapon, guardians come to you, the blacksmiths, to make sure that their weapons, their armor, all this crap is, forged. And as you guys progress in your careers, you will figure out that you will find guardians who come back to you and rely on you and your quality of weaponry, your skills, in order to keep, their armor, their weapons in tip-top shape and things like that. You don't have none of that, okay? Because that's usually the type of spiel that you get usually in these shows, these type of action-packed guardian, whatever, we are the force of good. You usually have that type of spiels coming at you through the teachers, through like retired guardians, things like that. You don't get any of it. You get like funny, quirky scenes, and then it was like class dismissed. Okay, when Sage goes to her potion making class, they all hand them like the teacher has like a bunch of cups of tea right there in front of them, and she tells them, hey, take a sip of this tea. They all take a sip. The bully character, this purple haired girl right here, slaps like the tea on Sage's lap. Haha, funny. And so they all take a sip of the tea, and then they all get poisoned and they start changing. It was like some type of poison that started deforming them before they killed them. And so Sage, who's the only person who didn't drink the poison, immediately starts making a concoction and then gives it to everybody, of course saving everybody. And then it was like, oh, okay, class dismissed, and then they all walk out. Like, what was the whole purpose of this? Why is potion making so what is the need of people knowing to make and knowing how to make potions and all this other crap? What is the purpose of potion making in this world? Okay, the only thing they really within the first 4 episodes they really established is the kind of idea of like new magic versus old magic. You have old magic, which is kind of like you using kind of like your soul to create magic, and then you have new magic, which is using like talisman and all these other things. Okay, and they don't really delve too deep in that. They just mention new magic in the ways new magic has made life better, but they don't really show examples of that. The only example of that, them showing new magic and how it actually benefits people, is from Drew the trans character, who was like, well, Drew the wonders of new magic, I'm able to create a potion that changes me into a male. Okay, and I have to take it once every 5 months. Like, what can you guys stop and like focus on one thing? Either focus on the lore, focus on the academy, why the academy is here, like what type of famous legacy people, alumni that has changed the world, who were, who've written their own stories here at this academy. Elaborate on that. Okay, you don't get any of it. It's just these characters going to classes, something happens, it's quirky, it's funny, and that's the end of it. Like, there's nothing there. There's nothing here for us to watch. Okay, and pretty much everybody agrees. Okay, so canceling my subscription over this wreck. I never liked this streaming service. The apps is easily the worst streaming app I ever used, but I've tolerated it because I like the content. But that time is in it. There have been fewer titles being brought in, and at what seems an even slower pace. Now we got this original work funded by our subscription money. I don't know how much it cost to make this, but it was more than zero. I would be shocked and surprised. An original derivative, and this is a show that's so bad even Cartoon Network would pass on it for another 8 hours of Teen Titans Go reruns. It took them 3 years. So here's to the classic tradition of vanity projects destroying the companies that allowed them, but you'll have to race to the bottom without me. Okay, it's pretty, yeah. So when it comes to Crunchyroll, I fully understand why people go to third-party websites, because when it comes to Crunchyroll, when it comes to Crunchyroll, they don't have all the top anime out there for you guys to watch. Okay, when it comes to third party websites have the latest and greatest. Every single anime that airs on Japanese TV, they have it right there on the site, fully dubbed, ready for you to just press play and watch it at high quality, 1080p, HD, whatever. Okay, and then when it comes to Crunchyroll or Funimation, they are limited by, the series that they only have, licensed copies to. And then the players are completely trash. They're slow. They buffer a lot and things like that. Because I used Crunchyroll a long time ago. I didn't pay the subscription fee, but I was like, yeah, I'm tired of all the apps. And then the shows or series that I wanted to watch wasn't on your site, but they were on third-party websites literally the day after they aired on Japanese TV. So I was like, that's a no-brainer for me. Okay, so let's just get into so we have the first episode here, and of course we have a lot of people saying, rated this episode as a 2-star. Okay, remember everyone, Crunchyroll could have used our money to license more anime instead of this crap. Okay, 43 upvotes. Episode 2. So I think we all know why this is getting 1 star to oblivion by people who didn't watch a full episode. Hint, it's not because it's low quality low. Okay, so yeah, pretty much people were dunking on this series. We'll see, 2.5. I'll say a 2.5 star rating for episode 2. Then episode 3, you got another 2.5, and then by episode 4, it's a 2-star. And here I'm gonna show a small clip of what is in store for you guys here. Okay, so I want you guys to kind of look at this picture. Tell me, how many males do you see in this picture? Okay, I'm gonna give you a quick second, and whatever number you guys came up with, you guys are wrong. Okay, there's absolutely no male characters. Okay, because I sure as hell can't see them. All the masculinity has been sucked out of this TV series. Okay, everybody seems to be completely and totally androgynous. Okay, most of these characters don't matter. Okay, I don't even remember like how many of these characters. All these characters are usually just background characters. Okay, the only two reoccurring characters that you really see are these two right here, Snapdragon and purple hair chick. And this little kid right here, he. When was the last time I saw him? I don't know. He's like a slapstick character that's in the back. He's worse than Mineta from My Hero Academia, okay? Because you see Mineta more times than you see this kid, okay? So this show, I don't know. A lot of these characters are not really recognizable. You know, they're not. What's the word I'm trying to look for? You know, you don't when they don't stick out to you. Okay, they kind of just look all bland, and then once they appear in the show, and then once they're off screen, you completely forget about their existence. You know, say, hey, I like that character. You know, I wish to see him again next time. No, okay, but here we have the father, and then the older brother, kind of lanky, kind of twinkish type older brother figure. Okay, these characters are bland, they're dry, there's nothing special. Like I said, there's nothing special about these characters. Okay, Parsley seems to be the only real character with any type of real story behind them. You know, came from a blacksmith family who was, the eldest daughter. Okay, she had to look after her seven other younger brothers, and so because of that type of environment, having to constantly look over her younger siblings, she had real no life of her own. Her life has been completely devoted to helping her mother raise her children and things like that, raise her siblings, things like that. So she wants to go to High Guardian Academy in order to get her own room, her own space, and do what she wants to do, is become a blacksmith. And so during episode 4, she gets in kind of a argument with her parents because her dad is kind of like, hey, I want you to come back and hopefully you going out to the academy, you got it out your system that you going out and being a blacksmith, now you're ready to come back home and help your mother raise your younger siblings. And of course she gets upset and says, no, I've been looking after my siblings all my life. I want to make something of myself. I don't want to be, a. She pretty much just says, I don't want to end up like my mother, but of course, that's, like most feminists do, they're like, I don't want to become, just a housewife, I don't want to be a woman that just helps around the house, cooks around the house, things like that. I want to be my own person, which is, it's understandable, okay? But when it comes to feminist and SJW writing, that's kind of the way that they want to that's the way they kind of like to attribute these type of characters that kind of want to be independent. Like, I understand, hey, she's the oldest sibling, spent her whole life taking after like all taking over and looking after all her younger siblings. So she wants to actually be her own person, go out and be a blacksmith and things like that. I understand that, but when it comes to SJWs, things like that, they usually try to take a more progressive tone. Okay, so here we got from Comic Book: Crunchyroll fans rise up to defend site's original animated series. So the crazy thing about this here is that they pretty much do this whole. They're just running the fence for High Guardian Spice. It came back out in like 2019, and so the crazy thing is like Crunchyroll fans rise up to defend site's original anime series. I was trying to find an update to this, but apparently not. This is still them over here trying to defend High Guardian Spice when it first was announced that, hey, this show is coming out. But here we have a lot of people who are kind of like pushing back against these people, calling them out for their bias. So the crazy thing is, it's like, well, now that the anime series is out, I'm trying to find them, figure out if they're going to stick with their same like kind of narrative, that the people who were attacking High Guardian Spice, are they, in their minds, are they still alt-right neo-Nazis, or do they have valid criticism? Okay. And of course, we'll never know because these people are just going to pretend like deflect and then pretend like nothing has was ever mentioned to them, or they never even brought up the discussion in the first place. But hopefully this was a good enough synopsis for you guys. There's not it's nothing. Okay, if this seemed like, well, you just told us a lot of nothing, buddy. Yeah, that's the point. There's not much when it comes to the show. These characters, like, that's why I said, like, where is the lore at? There's no world building. It's just them being in a school, and then they just happen to run into small problems. Like with Parsley here, the blacksmith teacher gives her like a little tiny hammer, and then has her go venture around the school. Okay, he pretty much says, hey, there's a portrait that you need to take this little hammer and fix it. And then she goes and fixes it, and then she gets dunked into like a secret chamber. And then she has to like walk her way through, using this small little hammer to, figure out tiny different puzzles and things like that. And that was it. Like, and then when she comes back out, the professor is like, good, that was my hammer when I first started this academy. Now what you need to know is that, a good blacksmith can use many tools, but a really great blacksmith knows how to use one, what the hell, what he just said. A blacksmith knows how to use many tools, but a good blacksmith knows how to use the proper tool for the proper situation, or some type of crap like that. Uh, like I said, Parsley seems to have the most character development, the most interesting backstory, and have the most appeal when it comes to this. Sage and Rosemary is pretty much just running off of, I want to be like the greatest guardian like my mother. And that's pretty much all her character is. And it's just her failing along the way. And so probably it will be more drawn out as I continue watching the series. But for right now, it's just like, I'm going to be like my mother. And then she fails and trips and stubs her toe. She's like, man, I'm never going to be like my mother. And that's really that's really all her character is. Like, come on now. Again, Sage, she's just there. Sage is just there to be the supportive bookworm friend who wants to learn about magic, but uh I don't know. It seems like when it comes to her, she most likely gets slowed down in what she's trying to do. Where's that? By where's those characters at again? I think it was 133. Boom. Okay. Take it. Hold up. Hold up. There we go. These two characters. These two are the main kind of like bully characters. This guy apparently, well, I can't say guy because this person is contemplating being trans or not. Okay, but this person right here apparently is falling in love with Sage. Falls in love with Sage. But at the same time, I think in a future episode, the dude dresses up like a woman, and then Sage falls in love with the woman version of him, and that makes him contemplate whether or not he wants to be a woman. It's weird. Okay, it makes no lick of sense. I'm sorry. If like I said, if this seems like I'm telling you guys a lot of nothing, it's because it's a lot of nothing. Okay, I hopefully will have a better understanding of this show by the end of it. But it's if I can't figure out what the hell's the whole point of this series by episode 4, that's just bad writing on your part. I've seen tons of anime, read tons of manga, read tons of manga and light novels. I can tell you the full, like, by the fourth, like, I'll say by the third episode of all my favorite anime, I could have told you, like, I wrote a whole essay on why I love this series and what I expect from the series. But as far as this show goes on, I have no expectations. It's just me. It's literally just me just sitting here in a chair and just watching as flashing colors appear. That's pretty much what it is. I have no idea what the hell this world is. Like, all the different races of people, why, what type of things each miss, because it's definitely Dungeons and Dragons inspired, okay? but it doesn't really play to any type of racial stereotypes, which is okay. But again, it's the only real interesting thing I could say about the backstory characters is the dark elf here, Dime, where apparently she comes from a like the woods, like a elven woods. I forgot where the fairylands. I think that's what they called it. I don't know what the hell they called it. They mentioned it like once or twice, and that's it. Okay, so apparently, and so hopefully they explore that in the next season or whatever. But that's the only real kind of like world building lore. It's just that, hey, you hear about this person who's from a separate a forest lands, and it's like, okay, are we gonna ever explore that area so we can get a bigger picture of what this world is? Because that's pretty much all it is. Okay, all we have right now is the small town of Pebble that we don't really explore. All we know is these people left from a really small town and they came to this city, and then they pretty much don't explore this. They don't explore the city really any much, like really. They could just go to the academy, and then during their free time, they go out, and that's where they run into these creatures called Trixies that steals her locket, and then that was pretty much it. And then so I'll continue watching this hopefully, and then I'll give you guys a better synopsis of what this show is. But again, if this sounds like a whole lot of nothing that I'm saying, it's because this show is a whole lot of nothing, and that's terrible. That's bad writing. If you can't, and it's not like that's the problem. It's not like Steven Universe. It's not like Adventure Time where it's like a 15-minute show. This is a full on 20. How long is this? Oh, episode 4. It's a full on 20. I'll give them, give or take, minus the opening series, like 20 minutes, give or take. Okay, you get full 20 minutes to tell people a story, and this is all you guys can come up with within 4 episodes. That's terrible. The 4th episode had the most storytelling aspect out of all the episodes combined, and that was mainly focusing. It was just that little tiny like 5-minute sequence, or I probably won't even say 5 minutes. It was literally just a 1 minute. 1 minute out of the whole damn episode of just Parsley talking to her parents saying that, hey, I spent my whole life looking after my little brothers. I want a life of my own. I want to go out and discover myself and become a great blacksmith. Because as the series goes on, you see that she is a pretty good blacksmith. And that's the only thing that you see. Dime right here seems to be a really good archer, but you don't really see much of her doing that. In the 4th episode, they have to save her little brother because he climbs up on a really tall building, and you see that Dime is pretty good with, being an archer. But other than that, her mood is completely terrible. She's a very moody person, and she's very unlikable. Rosemary is very unlikable because she just seems like an airhead dunce who just wants to, I'm gonna be like my mother, and then, man, I'm never gonna be like my mother anytime she fails. And that's pretty much her character. Okay, Sage, she really has no character but to be, Rosemary's support. Okay, that's pretty much her personality. She goes off and does a lot of things by herself, but she always gets interrupted by these two characters right here. And so pretty much her character is, if she's not being interrupted by the main not really the main antagonist, but the bully archetype characters, she's hovering around Rosemary and being Rosemary's support whenever she messes up or anything else. Okay, Parsley seems to be the only person who actually seems to be highly competent and knows what the hell she's doing. She pretty much can do everything, okay, by herself, because they show her with this sledgehammer like taking down a huge rock. Okay, she seems to be the most mature person out of all of them, mainly because she helped raise 7 of her siblings. But she seems the most mature, and pretty much, like, when you look at these people as a group, it's kind of like, why is Parsley really with these people? Like like, even when during the blacksmithing class within I think it was the 2nd episode, she was it's like first assignment for your first schoolers. Yeah. I'm trying to, what's the term? First year. Kind of like Harry Potter. First years. Here's for your first assignment for first years. You guys got to make a dagger, and then she's able to just like bust out like a dagger really quickly. And it's like, here it is. And teacher looks at it, is like, whoa, you're gonna need a second one. And she's like, boop, done. And he's like, well, hey, I'm gonna upgrade you guys. I'm gonna upgrade you to a dirt year class. Like, okay, like clearly you're far more competent than everybody else. So it's kind of like, it kind of just seems like everybody else is just dragging her down for the most part. So for right now, the short stack dwarven chick, no surprise, is my favorite. Is my favorite character so far out of everybody else. Okay, and that's terrible. Okay, she's the only character with the actual background, actual character development. And why it seems that she should have been the main character here. Okay, the only thing that brings down her character is the voice actor. Okay, the voice actor and the voice acting kind of just seems really out of place for her character, mainly. But other than that, she's the only good thing about this show so far, I'll say. So, with all that being said, like, share, subscribe, follow me for more. I will probably do a part 2 if this gets enough views and if anybody says, yeah, I want to see your full rundown, your full take on the entire series, because I heard there's so much more cringe. That's one thing that I'm dreading right now, because like I said, this character is gonna go through one of the bully characters right here. He's gonna go through a lot of changes and things like that, and I'm probably gonna cringe my eyes out. Okay, so if you guys want to see me die on video, I shall go and finish watching up this series, and if I survive, I will give you guys a full on part 2. Well, I'll probably just do I might do a part 2 and I watch 4 more episodes, and then a part 3 when I watch the last 4 episodes. I think I'll do that. Okay, so stay tuned for part 2. I will do if I don't just, blow my brains out by the end of all this, I will probably do a part 2 where I just watch all of it till episode 12, or I just watch from episode 5 through 8, come back and tell you guys then 9 through 12. Okay, so like, share, subscribe, follow for more, subscribe for more, hit the notification bell. Stay safe, stay sane, be vigilant, and I'll see you Patriots on the battlefield.